So this is a picture of myself next to my wife. My name is Jacobo Marquez. I am ancestrally from Mexico on my mother's side, and I'm part Jewish on my father's side. And I'm married to Lillian Hill, who is from the Hopi Nation. I grew up quite similar to my wife in that we grew up without electricity or running water. And when I was very young, about age 7 or so, we moved actually to the United States, to Los Angeles, and experienced a totally different reality than what I had growing up in a remote area, just subsisting from the land. And then I stayed in Los Angeles for 12 or so years until I actually met Lillian, and I married her and have been living at Hopi for almost 20 years now. And together, Lillian and I have 4 children. There's a smaller picture here, and this is her father, my dad-in-law. And we have 4 children that also we have raised throughout the years. And Lillian is a member of the tobacco clan at Hopi, and I have the honor to have been adopted into the Bear clan. The next slide I want to show you is, I hope you're seeing this. Yeah, the next slide I'm showing you is actually aerial photo of Kykotsmovi village. This is where we reside. Here you see Oraibi Wash, which cuts in between 3rd Mesa and 2nd Mesa. So that's just to give you some context about where we are. Here is another aerial photo here of Oraibi Wash. This is further south. It's pretty remote location. If you were to drive from Flagstaff, we're about an hour and a half away. The reason I wanted to share this photo here, though, is that it shows this what used to be an alluvial wash area. So every year around monsoons, this wash will run with water. And historically, this wash was managed by the farmers all along this valley. So this runs north to south. It originates from the Black Mesa region and goes down towards the mesas. So historically, a lot of what Brad was talking about, those principles have historically been ingrained and practiced by all Native people worldwide. And especially at Hopi during the monsoons, when this wash would run, the farmers would make a call out and folks would go to their fields, and they had already built up and prepared, in a sense, planted the rain already by setting up berms. And so they would get water from this wash, and it would fill up one farmer's field and then overflow into the next farmer, and so on and so forth. And that's what made all of the wash areas so fertile and so amenable to farming. And we live in an area, a region where we're lucky to get 7 to 9 inches of rain per year. And everything is pretty much based on the rain that we receive from the clouds. And so from this landscape, Hopi farmers have been able to, throughout the millennia, raise beautiful crops such as these, such as this corn that you're seeing here, which is grown solely from rainwater, and just an intrinsic knowledge from the farmers that have practiced this ancient farming technique, which is just utilizing people's knowledge of timing and the seeds that have adapted throughout thousands of years to grow in this condition. Here's another picture of a field, and you can see some of these are rather large fields. So all along this valley, historically, the land was farmed in this same manner. The next slide that I'm showing you is actually my wife Lillian here. This is about the time I met her and our good friend Roberto. They're visiting actually the headwaters of that Oraibi Wash up towards Black Mesa. And the reason I wanted to show this is that you know, this extractive mindset that has befallen throughout a lot of the world has caused so much destruction. This mine had been operating since the 1960s, and every year would extract over 3,800 acre feet of pristine, some of the most pristine water on the planet from the aquifer right under from the people, the aquifer that the people depend on. And what this has done throughout the years is that it's diminished the amount of springs, it's dried up springs, it's dried up washes, and this landscape here used to all be pinon pine, heavily, really beautiful rangeland and grasslands and shrublands, and was totally decimated. My wife and several other groups were part of an effort to actually shut down the mine, which it did in 2006, but not before it caused an extreme amount of damage to the community. I guess let me back up too a little bit. The other thing I wanted to mention is that, you know, that practice where folks were managing the watershed, much in the same way that Brad talks about we're actively managing that watershed. It's really interesting because this wash now cuts really deep, whereas in the past, it didn't do that. It flowed from side to side and was just replenishing everybody's field. It's interesting that it was documented when this wash first started cutting, and it was in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And this is actually about the same time that the United States military came to Hopi and was forcing assimilation onto the people and actually forcing children to go to school around this time. And so there was a heavy military presence. And because the people were not allowed to truly access their lands and be free, you saw a direct correlation between that and a degraded landscape. And so now this wash cuts really deep, as deep as 60 feet in some areas. And so the water is constantly taking away these good nutrients from our region. And so it's important for me to mention that because, you know, throughout the world, you know, as soon as you limit indigenous people's right to be on their traditional lands, you see a direct correlation and degradation of the landscape. And the other reason for me to show this slide is that this type of mindset, extractive mindset, is one of the reasons that we actually started Hopi Tutskwa Permaculture Institute, and it's a response to that, to try to do something better and provide something better for the community. My wife and I founded the organization around 2004. And to this day, it's an Indigenous-led nonprofit located in the village of Kykotsmovi. Here, you'll see where we live is actually down here. And this is up on the mesa, the village of Oraibi, which is one of the oldest communities, continuously inhabited communities in North America. And so most of the folks who live in Kykotsmovi, including my wife, come from this village here, up here on the mesa. And so our mission as an organization is to try to create community-based solutions so that we can pass something better to future generations and to try to rebuild generative and healthy communities. So part of our story is really, and our evolution has been really to try to answer this question. What would our communities look like if we nurtured the next generation to develop self-leadership and capacity, to learn and to practice our indigenous languages and cultures, to strengthen and restore local regenerative food systems, develop local food markets, rekindle traditional trade routes, and become land stewards? And this question is really pertinent at Hopi because Hopis know the region of North America, Central and South of America. They're intrinsically linked to it. In my time at Hopi, I've learned so much about the history of these lands from the stories that they still hold on to. So Hopis have been stewards of a lot of the land base in North, Central, and South America and trace the roots to it. And so for us creating the organization, we've always tried to do it in a way that honors that. And so our organization focuses and has sponsored a whole lot of workshops and learning opportunities that last anywhere from a few hours to some of them for 6 months. Here in this picture, you see folks relearning how to make fire using bow drills and other methods. And the picture below, two ladies are making a bread oven out of sand, clay, and straw. And so throughout the years, we've hosted a lot of different kind of workshops that our hope is to rekindle a direct connection between some of our most basic needs as humans, including a relationship to water, a relationship to the food we eat, a relationship to the homes that we live in, and a relationship to the energy that we need. And so our workshops have been tailored around those four needs, and in acknowledgement of cultural lifeways and practices that still exist within the community and that the community has depended on for thousands of years. So I'm just going to share a little bit about some of those the programming that we offer, and a lot of it is focused on youth and young adults. Again, bringing them into because the school systems and what the modern economy is doing to young people, they don't necessarily see a connection between their homeland and what they're going to do in their future. A lot of the schooling is geared towards training people to go off reservation and work in a wage economy. And so part of our goal is to try to make that connection between the land and the people, and really try to share and rekindle, those lifeways that tie the people to the land. So we work with farmers a lot. We work with builders. And so this is an example of a farmer, a dryland farmer named Leonard, who's an excellent farmer, who's showing here the young folks how he, some of his secrets of how to raise food in this environment. So here he has a patch of melons, some squash, and then some corn growing behind him. Again, this is all being grown through prayers and an average rainfall of about 7 to 9 inches of rain per year. Again, another example of young people now learning a different method, lasagna bed gardening from Susan, who's a great instructor also. Part of our work also acknowledges that we need to strengthen the watershed around us. And so a lot of watershed restoration work and trainings geared towards that, towards preventing erosion, preventing what's happened at Oraibi Wash to continue to not let that happen anymore by doing what we can on the landscape. One of our biggest programs is a natural building internship. So this is a program that we started in 2015. We built 4 houses through this program, and we're building homes on the reservation, at the same time providing a path for young people to learn all the different skills needed and all the different crafts needed to build a home from foundation to finish. This is locally quarried stone here.
These logs come from the forests of Flagstaff, and then we do a lot of earthen floors, and these are passive solar buildings that we're building. And part of that is a reciprocal loan financing that we've been able to initiate, so that the repayment of each home goes towards building another home. And so in that way, we're hoping to grow this program and be able to build more affordable homes. And I'll share a little bit more about that later, but this is just a few pictures of some of the young folks and instructors that have helped throughout the years build some of the homes. Here you'll see some of the finished plaster work above the locally quarried stone and shaped stone. This is an earthen floor. This is a stone with cob on top of it. Cob being just sand, clay, and straw. And here the students are learning about solar. So it's just a really wonderful program. I know I'm probably going a little bit quickly. I know I only have 30 minutes, but I'm just going to share a little bit more and then get to some pictures, hopefully. So we do offer an Indigenous grower training program. Again, looking at all the different farming practices that are available, from dry farming to greenhouse growing to lasagna bed growing, and then irrigated growing over towards because that's part of Hopi farming too in some areas at the springs that remain, and then at Monkapi where they have access to irrigation. I'll just kind of move forward here. So I do just want to mention this here. This is one of the homes that we built up at Third Mesa. The thing that's remarkable about these homes is that they provide their own energy. This is a fully off-grid home. They catch their own water. They're made of a lot of local material. They're able to produce their own food, or at least some of it in a greenhouse. And then they're homes that regenerate and heal the landscape. So a lot of times you'll see homes that are built that 5-10 years down the line, you see that the land around it has been degraded and it looks worse. So the opposite happens with the homes that we built, because it's more of a holistic approach where we look at all those needs and try to create a relationship to the homeowner. And so here we're just setting up terrace gardens that will be fed by the rainwater catchment systems. We also sponsor, along with other group, in collaboration with other groups in the community, a Hopi Farmers Market and Exchange. Here's a picture of one of our vendors at the market. This is a couple of the emerging and future initiatives that are taking off. And here, now I want to enter into some pictures to show you the food forest. So this is the home that my wife and I built through an educational program where we taught 10 young people along with us how to build. And this was a pilot home that we started. So here, this youngster is packing the soil. This is going to be the future site of this home. Behind them is actually a cob house, the first home that my wife and I built. It's a rather small home, and we kind of outgrew it pretty quickly. But you'll see this rainwater tank here, and then you'll see some mulch getting piled up. This pile here is from logs that we peeled, and so we did utilize that in the landscaping. Here is what the home lined out. You'll see the finished home here soon in some of the pictures. Here, again, you'll see the mulch here, and you'll see there's some basins down here that have been capturing a lot of water. The mulch pile here, that was really instrumental in helping us develop our food forest. So these are some of the earliest pictures we have of the site. Here is my wife Lillian and our son Hawthorne.
This soil here is pretty typical of a disturbed soil. So this is mostly blow sand and with hardly any organic matter. And that's why you'll see we had to utilize a lot of mulch. The more mulch, the better. Here's another picture looking north from our area. In this left-hand side, you'll see some stone and the beginnings of a cob wall there. And it'll make sense when I show some more pictures. So this is that same angle a few years later. Here's that completed home. And this is some of the food forest now coming to life. You'll notice all of this mulch covering the ground. And I'll share some more pictures here. Here are some cuttings that every year we take cuttings and are able to grow plants from a lot of the different cuttings. At Hopi, there are some of the oldest varieties of grapes and fruit trees that trace back to the Middle East and the Mediterranean and China. And so some of those cuttings that we were continuing those varieties through cuttings and different propagation techniques. This is a picture of the hoop house filled with cuttings. There's grapes here. There's a type of willow. There's a honey locust here. And then there's some cottonwoods also. So all of those we grow by cuttings and are able to share those with the community, offer them at farmers markets, and throughout the years we've planted them throughout our site. This here is a picture of some peach seeds. We do a lot of peach seed plantings, again, to try to continue some of those old varieties of peaches. And then we also have planted inside that hoop house, which helps us a lot, especially because we face super high winds during this time of the year. And things tend to stay a little bit more moist in the hoop house throughout the year. This is a picture showing the south side of the smaller house. We have a greenhouse in there, which provides heat in the winter time and then is able to grow food year round. And then another picture of the larger greenhouse with the bigger house that we built. These are both passive solar greenhouses, so we don't heat or cool them with anything else other than actively managing 2 skylights and venting windows and venting sliding glass doors. And so we're able to grow thousands of starts in this greenhouse. The previous greenhouse you saw has planting beds in there, but this one we utilize for plant starts. And then you'll see in the background here other cuttings that are also growing out. Actually, this picture was taken about 3 weeks ago. So you can see on the outside, things are still just barely coming out of dormancy. This is a picture of our food forest at a young stage. Kind of what Brad was talking about, you know, those principles are just universal. I have Brad's book and I'll give him a shout out right now. They're excellent books because he's really documented these principles that their execution will vary no matter where you are, what location, but the principles are true no matter where you go. And I think he's done just a really good job of encapsulating that and you know, tracing it back to the folks that he learned from too in Africa and different parts of the world. So here you see a very young guild, the fruit tree, how Brad was talking about being the centerpiece, and then plants below it to complement the tree. So we've experimented throughout the years and have been able to come up with a system that works really well for us. And now we're doing it throughout the community with families that are wanting to learn and also integrate food forests. So here's a before picture. And here's an after picture.
We're gonna have, thank you. Just give us a few things to close up your talk, and I really appreciate your time today.
Yes, definitely. I think, I think that you guys will have great instructors there. I didn't get into specifics, but I know between Brad and Lisa and I think Kelly, other folks will be able to get into specific and more technical. But I would just say that the practice of agroforestry can really truly be developed to be part of a future economy that can help communities in a way where we're able to live in a harmonious and peaceful way. And I think it's definitely something that we need to do as a response to global catastrophe. So I just want to thank you all for inviting me to be a speaker, and I hope that that you got something out of my presentation.
Indeed. Thank you so much.